Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I've got your very first gameplay and overview straight from the Dance of Dragons dev server for the J-10A. That's right, we have the J-10A currently, at least in the dev server. Bear in mind, literally everything, including the models, the stats, the weapons, everything, they are all subject to change. But currently, this is a 13.7 BR jet fighter. Again, for the Chinese Air Force's tech tree, all the way down in this line after the F-16A MLU. This thing is an absolute beast. Now, when it comes to its engine, yeah, it's very powerful. I don't think that they used a Pratt & Whitney engine in this thing. Like I said, things are subject to change, and the radar itself only has a 70-kilometer range. It's not all that wide of a search zone, but still, let's look at these weapons because it is very nice. So I really hate this new secondary loadout screen, but either way, as you can see, PL-12 active radar homing missiles, you can carry up to 6 of them, which is very nice, and PL-8 short-range all-aspect missiles, 40 Gs of overload, 3.5 Mach, unfortunately not IRCCM, nor are the PL-5E2 missiles, which are going to be the base missiles that you can unlock for this, but still, this thing will be a beast, and when it comes to anti-ground, it actually still has a pretty decent amount of damage, so as you can see, you can carry 500 kilogram bombs, 250 kilogram bombs, carry some laser guided bombs, the KADC-03A targeting pod. You can carry actually some pretty decent Zuni type rockets. I don't think they're quite as good as Zunis, but still pretty decent. And of course, some Type 91 heat rockets. Now these aren't all that great, but overall, I mean, if you ever needed to use this in a pinch as a close air support aircraft, you know what, it could do so. But either way, I mean, its stats here, up to 300 or so meters per second rate of climb, excellent turn time, all these things, great. The only bad thing about it really is the fact that it doesn't really have all that much insofar as countermeasures are concerned. But otherwise, this thing is extremely effective, at least based on its stats, and it has a very unusual profile. That being said, let's get into a few matches, see what we could do with this thing. But I am actually really stoked. Like, what a cool looking aircraft. And the great thing is, this aircraft was designed and if I'm not mistaken, first flew around the new millennium. So it's one of the newest aircraft in War Thunder. That said, let's get into it. So there's a few things to note right off the bat here with the J-10A. And first and foremost, actually the fuel load on this thing, I think you can only carry about 23 minutes of fuel at max without a fuel tank, which sucks. Secondly, this does have a helmet mounted display, which is really nice. And third, if you look on the bottom or on the radar screen there, that's a fairly thin radar scope, so it's a little bit you know, like, of course the PL-12s, they're not bad, it's just how effective is it going to be with a radar like this, you know? I mean, it's a little bit middling, might be a good way to put it. And also, it only has a 70-kilometer range. Okay, we have our first targets. These are a little bit far out. Bear in mind here, when it comes down to it, these are all bots. This is the dev server, unfortunately. Bots are everywhere, and it's not going to be necessarily, you know, any better if I get into another match as well. So it kind of sucks, to be quite honest with you, but that's just kind of how the dev server is. I'm going to wait a little bit longer to actually fire this next one. Probably within 30 kilometers. That way I can better guarantee a hit. PL-12s, I mean, like, pretty much all of the first Fox 3 is the active radar homing missiles, outside of course, the Phoenixes. They more or less have very similar stats. I mean, they're not all the same, of course, but they aren't really incredibly different in many ways. So I'm going to go ahead and, I mean, I'm not sure if this is the same guy or not. It might be. So I'm going to go fire another one on this guy. Let's see if we can get some hits. You know, and bear in mind, I mean, like, that's the thing with the dev server. It's like, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Okay, that's a different guy. I'm glad I fired on this guy. Sure, like, they are a lot of fun. But ultimately, this guy is just hawking all the kills. Okay, we got one. We got one. Thank you. Thank you. Am I going to kill my ally by accident? I hope not. But, yeah, unfortunately, that's just kind of how dev server is. So I'm going to fire on one of these F-104s, you know. But what I can tell you about this aircraft, let's go ahead and once I get to within, I don't know, 30 kilometers. Let's go test this aircraft out a little bit in flight. So, I mean, as you can see, I mean, honestly, genuinely, this is a beautiful, like, the model on this thing is just wonderful. Really, it is. And the forward canards do flex, so that's very nice. Let's go ahead and take a nice turn here. We're getting 11 Gs here over Mach 1. And I'm still going Mach 1 out of that turn, and I was not necessarily using full afterburners the entire turn. So that's actually quite impressive in my opinion. Wow. Let's see. Okay, we are getting actually a pretty long lock here. And I'm just going to go ahead and let's fire some more. These missiles are not doing everything that I want them to do, unfortunately, but we do also have a radar-guided sight there, or radar-assisted gun sights, which is nice. You know, it does work with the TWS. So, I mean, overall, this isn't bad. Let's go test out the roll rate. Not terrible, pretty good. I mean, I'd say it's pretty average. So that said, let's get into one more real quick match here. Again, there's only so much that I can do, unfortunately, in these dev servers, but just bear in mind also, flares chaff very low right now, and my fuel is pretty damn low as well. But to be fair, I have been using my afterburners, and in my experience thus far, this thing actually doesn't consume fuel as quickly as you'd think. Oh, and as I'm sure a lot of you guys probably want to know, this here is the cockpit. It's actually really, really nice. Like, holy cow, this actually looks really cool. Like, you could tell this was a turn of the millennium fighter. I mean, it's like semi-digital, semi-not. It's just really beautiful. And also, that continuous display there, that's pretty much just indicating my heads-up display, because, again, it is something that I could look over, and as you can see, that's about my range there. So pretty damn cool in my opinion. Pretty damn cool. So my initial impressions of this thing, I mean, it's pretty good. I actually think the radar, even though it is limited insofar as the width of its scanning capabilities are concerned, it really isn't bad. In fact, actually, I would say the radar is pretty good at distinguishing enemies. It's not terrible. I don't know if it's the most powerful by any means, but it's reasonably powerful. Also, this vehicle is going to be called the Temu Typhoon, and I think it's funny, so I'm going to call it also the Temu Typhoon, because that's a really funny nickname in my opinion. So, yeah, here we have it, the Temu Typhoon. I mean, it kind of looks like it, right? But, so, that said, let's go ahead and just launch, I guess, a little bit far. Typically, I mean, my experience with the PL-12s is once you launch at a range like this, it's a little iffy insofar as you know, shot probability is concerned. So you want to launch a little bit closer. I'd probably say within 30 kilometers, if that. You know, maybe even a little bit closer than that. I know a lot of people are going to be like, "Oh, Tankenstein, that's stupid. You can launch however, you know, 10 kilometers or 50 kilometers or whatever." It's just like, yeah, in theory I could. You know, I've got no doubt that I could. But it's just not going to necessarily be a good time. So, we are getting kind of close to that guy, actually. Let's see if I can get myself a hit. And I am getting a little bit closer, so I'm going to go ahead and switch up my radar. And there we go. Somebody already took the kill. So that's just kind of unfortunately how this is going to end up being. And there's already a bunch of allies or enemies being killed. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and fire on this guy. Hopefully it doesn't kill my ally. I am hoping it doesn't. Let's go ahead and see if we can reacquire that target there. It says I've got about 8 seconds away from impact, so let's see. Can it distinguish? And it missed. Oh, shoot. Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm so sorry, buddy. I'm so sorry. I'm so... Is it gonna go for him again? Are you serious? What in the heck? Okay, you can't tell me this game was not out to get him. What the heck? Holy guacamole. Well, at least you guys know the PL8s work, and, I mean, hey, the PL12's got a nice kill there. It didn't get as quick of a kill as I expected, however. That's a little bit disappointing, to be quite honest with you. So let's just go ahead, put Blind Hunt on. Okay, we have a guy way out there. As you can see, I mean, having this limited fuel is a little bit of an issue. I'm actually genuinely sorry. I did not want to kill him. But again, this is dev server. Dev server does not matter at all. All of this stuff is pretty much just playing on fun bucks. You know, it's just such a non-issue, really. So, but as you can see, I mean, this is not picking up this guy at all against the ocean. So he is moving towards me. I'm going to wait until we're about 18 kilometers. I'm going to fire this PL-12, assuming I can get myself a good lock on him. Actually, we have this guy here. I'm going to go fire my PL-8. I am right next to their base. I'm going to get a little bit closer and fire. Let's do that at a slight angle there. Pull away from that base, and then hopefully we can do the rest of our work. Now, I am hoping if I can pick this guy up. Woo! Okay, this is not wanting to work here. Just pick him up on the radar, my man. Please. Well, it looks like we might have to gun this guy down. Radar does not feel like working right now, unfortunately. So, hopefully I don't get shot down by the base. And, yeah, radar just doesn't want to actually believe that this guy exists. So, that said, we won. So, do I like this thing? Yeah, I do. Ultimately, I mean, we've gotten to a point where airframes don't matter as much and missiles do. And so, while I think that this thing is actually a really good airframe, and I feel like the overall capabilities of it are impressive, for example, like its maneuverability, its overall speed, all of that, I mean, there are a lot of vehicles out there that can do very similar things to this, F-16 being one of them. I mean, it's a very impressive aircraft, and I feel like it will add a really nice suite of capabilities to China. The only problem is, in my opinion, this radar is middling at best. You know, I mean, it's fairly powerful once it does get a lock, but, you know, being able to get a lock, and maybe it's operator error. I'm not entirely sure at the end of it, because I know I did switch my radar modes back to pulse Doppler, but it should have been able to pick that guy up, that final guy, to the point where I had to gun him down. So, I mean, hey, you saw at the last match, I got PL8, PL12, and gun kills, and the PL12 kill was unfortunately an ally, and that was really unlucky on his part, and my part too. But either way, thanks for watching. Let me know what you guys think about the Temu Typhoon, but I'll see you all on the other side, and let me know what vehicles you want me to do, if any, on the dev server. Take care, everyone.